Ever wonder what's crawling around inside you right now? No, seriously. I'm not talking about your lunch or that embarrassing memory from middle school that keeps you up at night. I'm talking about the literal army of microscopic creatures, parasites, and downright bizarre biological processes happening in your body as you watch this video. And trust me, some of this stuff is going to make you question everything you thought you knew about being human. Your body isn't just your body. It's more like a bustling metropolis, where you are just the mayor and millions of other residents are running operations so weird they'd put sci-fi to shame. From ancient viruses rewriting your DNA to microscopic raves on your face, we're counting down the 10 most disturbing biological truths about yourself. And before we start, if you're a fan of learning how gloriously gross you are, smash that like button. It helps the algorithm spread this biological horror show. Let's get right into it. Number 10. Your face mites are having orgies. Alright, picture this. You're getting ready for bed, washing your face with that expensive skincare routine you've been bragging about on social media. You look in the mirror feeling fresh and clean. But what you can't see, a microscopic rave is happening right in your pores. I'm not kidding. Meet Demodex follicularum, tiny, 8-legged mites that call your face home, and they're living their best life. These little creatures are about 0.3 millimeters long, which sounds small until you realize there are potentially thousands of them crawling around your forehead, nose, and cheeks right now. They spend their days burrowing headfirst into your hair follicles, munching on dead skin cells and oils like they're at an all-you-can-eat buffet. But here's where it gets really, really weird. They only come out at night to mate. I mean, can you imagine? Research published in the journal Molecular Biology and Evolution reveals that these mites have been living with humans for so long, they've actually evolved specifically for us. They've lost genes for UV protection because they never see sunlight, and they've become completely dependent on our skin chemistry. Dr. Hank Bragg's studies show that nearly 100% of adults over 18 have these mites, and they're passed down through generations like some kind of creepy family heirloom. The kicker? They just keep accumulating waste their entire lives until they die and decompose in your pores, releasing all that built-up stuff back into your skin. And honestly, I'm kind of grossed out just thinking about it. Speaking of DNA inheritance, what if I told you 8% of your genetic code isn't even human? Number 9. Ancient viruses are rewriting your DNA. Yeah, you heard that right. Your genome isn't just your genetic code. It's like a historical archive of every virus that has ever infected your ancestors. And some of these viral squatters have been crashing at your genetic party for millions of years. About 8% of your entire DNA consists of ancient viral sequences called endogenous retroviruses, or ERVs. To put that in perspective, that's more than double the amount of DNA that actually codes for proteins. These aren't just harmless genetic fossils sitting around collecting dust. Some of these viral sequences are still active, and they're doing some seriously weird stuff. Research from Stanford University shows that some ERVs actually help regulate your immune system, while others might be linked to autoimmune diseases and even certain cancers. It's like having a bunch of ancient hackers who broke into your system so long ago that your body just decided to put them to work instead of kicking them out. Here's the mind-bending part. Some of these viral sequences appear to be essential for human pregnancy. Studies published in Nature show that a protein called syncytin, which is crucial for placental development, actually came from an ancient retrovirus that infected our mammalian ancestors around 25 million years ago. Without this viral DNA, human reproduction, as we know it, might not even be possible. So the next time someone asks you what makes you human, you can tell them it's partly thanks to millions of years of viral infections. Your ancestors got sick, and now you exist. Evolution is beautifully twisted like that. But here's the real plot twist. What if you're not even the one in control? What if you're just a puppet for microbes? Number 8. Your gut is running a criminal underground. Think your digestive system is just quietly breaking down that sandwich you had for lunch? Think again. Your gut microbiome is like a bustling criminal underworld with more residents than there are people on Earth. And some of these microscopic gangsters are running operations that would make the mafia jealous. You've got roughly 100 trillion bacterial cells living in your intestines right now. That's about 10 times more bacterial cells than human cells in your entire body. But here's where it gets creepy. Some of these bacteria are literally manipulating your behavior and cravings. Research from UCLA shows that certain gut bacteria can produce neurotransmitters like serotonin and GABA, essentially hijacking your brain chemistry to get what they want. Craving chocolate at 2 a.m.? I used to think that was just my weak willpower. Turns out, It could be Prevotella bacteria sending chemical signals to your brain, demanding more sugar. Studies published in the journal Bioessays reveal that gut bacteria can influence everything from your mood to your mate selection. Yeah, that's right, the bacteria in your stomach might have a say in who you swipe right on. But wait, it gets weirder. Some bacteria produce compounds that can make you feel anxious or depressed when they don't get fed properly. Dr. John Cryan's research at University College Cork shows that certain bacterial strains can actually change your brain structure and behavior. It's like having a tiny mob boss in your intestines saying, "Feed us pizza, or we'll make you feel terrible." The most disturbing part? When you take antibiotics, you're basically carpet bombing this entire ecosystem, and the survivors that grow back might be completely different. You could literally wake up with different food cravings and mood patterns. Your gut bacteria aren't just living in you, they're actively shaping who you are. So, do you control your body, or are you just a puppet for microbes? Comment, "I'm the boss," or "My bacteria rule" below. Number 7. Your eyes are leaking brain fluid. Every time you cry, whether it's from watching a sad movie, cutting onions, or realizing your student loan balance, you're literally leaking brain fluid out of your face. And I'm not being dramatic here. Tears contain cerebrospinal fluid, the same stuff that cushions your brain and spinal cord. Your tear ducts connect to your nasal cavity through a drainage system called the nasolacrimal duct. But here's the creepy part. This system also connects to spaces that communicate with your cerebrospinal fluid. Research from the Shepins Eye Research Institute shows that certain proteins found in tears, like lactoferrin and lysozyme, are also present in cerebrospinal fluid, suggesting a direct connection between your brain's protective fluid and what's streaming down your cheeks. But tears aren't just random leakage. They're actually a sophisticated communication system. Studies published in Science show that human tears contain chemical signals that can affect other people's behavior. When researchers had men smell women's tears, yes, this was an actual scientific study. The men showed decreased testosterone levels and reduced sexual arousal. Basically, your tears are broadcasting chemical messages that say, "Hey, I'm emotionally distressed, maybe don't try to mate with me right now." Even weirder, your tears have different chemical compositions depending on why you're crying. Emotional tears contain higher levels of stress hormones like cortisol, while reflex tears, from onions or bright lights, have different protein concentrations. It's like your eye sockets are running a sophisticated chemical laboratory, analyzing your emotional state and broadcasting it to the world through your face holes. So the next time someone tells you to cry it out, just remember, you're literally leaking brain juice as a form of chemical communication. Pretty wild, right? While your eyes broadcast feelings, your blood is hiding evidence of cellular murders. Number 6. Dead blood cells are painting you yellow. Right now, millions of your red blood cells are dying, and their corpses are being processed by your liver in a way that would make a CSI investigator queasy. Every single day, about 1% of your red blood cells reach their expiration date. That's roughly 200 billion cells dying and being recycled through your bloodstream. When these cells die, they release hemoglobin, which gets broken down into a compound called bilirubin. Here's where it gets gross. Bilirubin is what makes bruises turn yellow and green, and it's also what gives your poop its brown color. Essentially, you're constantly producing this yellow-green death pigment from cellular corpses, and your liver has to work overtime to process this macabre waste stream. But sometimes this system gets overwhelmed or breaks down, and that's when things get really visible. Studies from Johns Hopkins show that when bilirubin levels spike, due to liver problems, infections, or genetic conditions, your skin and the whites of your eyes literally turn yellow. It's called jaundice, and it's basically your body's way of saying, "I can't keep up with all these dead cells anymore." The creepy part? This is happening right now as you're reading this. Your spleen is acting like a cellular graveyard, catching old and damaged red blood cells and breaking them down. Your bone marrow is cranking out new red blood cells to replace the dead ones, but it's always playing catch-up in this endless cycle of cellular death and renewal. Research published in Blood Reviews shows that this process produces about 250 to 300 milligrams of bilirubin daily in healthy adults. That's like having a tiny yellow paint factory running 24/7 inside your body, powered entirely by the decomposing remains of your own blood cells. Beautiful and disturbing at the same time. Number 5. Your bones are eating themselves. You probably think of your skeleton as this solid, unchanging framework holding you together, like the steel beams of a building. Wrong. Your bones are in a constant state of cannibalistic renovation, literally eating themselves and rebuilding 24/7 in a process so metal it would make death metal bands jealous. Every single day, specialized cells called osteoclasts are basically acid-bombing parts of your skeleton, dissolving bone tissue and creating tiny caves and tunnels throughout your bones. Meanwhile, other cells called osteoblasts are frantically trying to fill in these holes with new bone material. It's like having a construction crew and a demolition crew working on the same building simultaneously forever. This isn't some gentle, peaceful process either. Research published in the Journal of Bone and Mineral Research shows that your entire skeleton is completely replaced every 7 to 10 years through this violent cycle of destruction and reconstruction. The osteoclasts literally secrete hydrochloric acid, the same stuff in your stomach, to dissolve bone mineral, while pumping out enzymes that break down the protein matrix. It's like your bones are digesting themselves from the inside out. But here's the really disturbing part. Sometimes this system goes haywire. Studies from the Mayo Clinic show that conditions like osteoporosis occur when the demolition crew starts working faster than the construction crew. Your bones become Swiss cheese, riddled with holes and weak spots, all because your own cells got a little too enthusiastic about the whole eating bone thing. And get this, your bones actually get stronger from stress and impact because the demolition process ramps up in response to microdamage, triggering even more aggressive rebuilding. So when you exercise, you're basically telling your skeleton, hey, eat yourself harder so you can grow back stronger. Your bones are literally into self-harm as a form of self-improvement. Number 4. Zombie cells are plotting your demise. Inside your body right now, there are cells that should be dead but refuse to die, and they're slowly poisoning you from the inside. These cellular zombies, called senescent cells, have reached the end of their normal lifespan, but instead of politely dying like they're supposed to, they stick around and cause absolute chaos. Senescent cells are like that terrible roommate who won't move out even though the lease is up. They stop dividing and growing, but they don't shut down completely. Instead, they start secreting inflammatory compounds, toxic proteins, and stress signals in what scientists call the senescence-associated secretory phenotype, or SASP. Research from the Buck Institute shows these zombie cells literally poison their neighbors, causing nearby healthy cells to become dysfunctional or senescent themselves. Here's the terrifying part. These cellular zombies accumulate as you age, and they're directly linked to pretty much every age-related disease you can think of. Studies published in Nature show that senescent cells contribute to arthritis, heart disease, diabetes, Alzheimer's, and even cancer. They're like biological terrorists, slowly sabotaging your organs from within. But wait, it gets worse. These zombie cells are incredibly hard to kill because they've developed resistance to the normal cell death signals. They produce proteins that protect them from apoptosis, programmed cell death, essentially making them immortal agents of destruction. Mayo Clinic research shows that even a small number of senescent cells can cause massive tissue dysfunction and inflammation. Scientists are now developing senolytic drugs, basically zombie cell assassins, that specifically target and eliminate these cellular undead. Early trials show that clearing out senescent cells can actually reverse some aspects of aging and extend healthy lifespan. So your body is literally being held hostage by its own zombie cells, and we're finally figuring out how to fight back. Number 3. Your immune system has hit squads. Your immune system isn't just some peaceful defense force. It's running literal assassination programs inside your body right now, complete with specialized killer cells that make James Bond look like an amateur. And sometimes, these hit squads get their wires crossed and start targeting you. Meet your natural killer cells, or NK cells for short. These cellular assassins patrol your bloodstream looking for infected cells, cancer cells, or anything that seems off. And when they find a target, they don't mess around. Research from the National Cancer Institute shows that NK cells kill their targets by injecting them with toxic proteins called perforin and granzymes. Perforin literally punches holes in the target cell's membrane, while granzymes flood in and trigger the cell to commit suicide. But your immune system's hit squad operations get even more sophisticated. You've got cytotoxic T lymphocytes that are trained to recognize specific targets like a cellular FBI database, and dendritic cells that act like undercover agents, capturing enemy information and reporting back to headquarters. Studies published in Immunity show that these cells can distinguish between millions of different potential threats and coordinate incredibly complex assassination campaigns. Here's where it gets really scary. Sometimes your immune hit squads go rogue. In autoimmune diseases, these killer cells start targeting your own healthy tissues. Type 1 diabetes happens when your immune system assassinates insulin-producing cells in your pancreas. Multiple sclerosis occurs when immune cells attack the protective coating on your nerve fibers. It's like having an elite military force suddenly decide that you are the enemy. The most disturbing part? This is all happening without your conscious knowledge or control. Right now, there are probably thousands of microscopic assassinations taking place in your body, with cellular hit squads eliminating threats and occasionally making mistakes that could affect your health for years to come. And while these killers patrol your body, your brain is quietly shrinking. Number 2, your brain is literally shrinking every night. While you're peacefully sleeping, convinced that you're just resting and recharging, your brain is actually shrinking by up to 60% and flooding itself with toxic waste fluids in a process so bizarre it sounds like science fiction. And if this nightly brainwashing cycle gets disrupted, the consequences are absolutely terrifying. During deep sleep, your brain cells literally shrink away from each other, creating massive channels between neurons that didn't exist when you were awake. Research from the University of Rochester shows that this creates superhighways for cerebrospinal fluid to flood through your brain tissue like a pressure washer, flushing out metabolic waste products that have been accumulating all day. It's like your brain transforms into a car wash every single night. But here's the really creepy part. One of the main things being washed out is a protein called amyloid beta, the same toxic protein that builds up in Alzheimer's disease. Studies published in Science show that people who don't get enough deep sleep, or whose brains don't shrink properly during sleep, accumulate more of these toxic proteins over time. Essentially, every night you don't sleep well, your brain gets a little more poisoned. The glymphatic system, this brainwashing network, is 10 times more active during sleep than when you're awake. It's like having a cleaning crew that only works the night shift, and if you keep them from doing their job, your brain becomes a toxic waste dump. Dr. Maiken Nedergaard's research shows that mice deprived of sleep for just one night show a 5% increase in amyloid beta levels. Even weirder, your sleeping position matters. Studies show that sleeping on your side allows for more efficient brain waste clearance compared to sleeping on your back or stomach. So not only does your brain shrink every night, but it has a preferred position for optimal toxic waste removal. Your brain is literally doing nightly detox sessions, and you probably had no idea this microscopic janitor service was even running. Number 1, you're carrying your twin's DNA. Here's something that'll keep you up at night. There's a decent chance you're carrying cells from a completely different person inside your body right now, and you've been living with this cellular stowaway your entire life without knowing it. Welcome to the world of microchimerism, where your body becomes a living time capsule of other people's DNA. If you were ever pregnant or gave birth, you're definitely carrying your child's cells in multiple organs, including your brain, heart, and liver. But it goes both directions. Research from the Fred Hutchinson Cancer Research Center shows that fetal cells regularly cross the placenta and set up permanent residence in the mother's body, while maternal cells do the same thing in the developing fetus. You could literally have your mother's brain cells helping to control your brain functions. But wait, it gets even more disturbing. Studies published in Current Opinion in Obstetrics and Gynecology reveal that you might be carrying DNA from older siblings, your maternal grandmother, or even from a twin that you absorbed in the womb. Vanishing twin syndrome affects up to 30% of early pregnancies, meaning you could be walking around with your unborn twin's cells integrated into your organs, essentially making you a genetic chimera. This isn't just some harmless genetic souvenir collection either. Research shows that these foreign cells can actually influence your health in weird ways. Some studies suggest that fetal cells in mothers might help repair damaged tissue, while others show they could trigger autoimmune responses. Dr. Diana Bianchi's research indicates that these chimeric cells might even affect cancer risk, sometimes protecting against it and sometimes promoting it. The most mind-bending part? Some of these foreign cells can survive for decades. Women have been found carrying male DNA from pregnancies they had 30-plus years earlier. You could literally be part of a genetic collective that spans generations, carrying microscopic pieces of family members you've never even met, all living and functioning as part of what you think is uniquely you. So there you have it, 10 absolutely disturbing things happening inside your body right now. From face mites having orgies to ancient viruses rewriting your DNA, your body is basically running a 24/7 freak show that would make a horror movie director jealous. The next time you look in the mirror, just remember, you're not just you, you're an entire ecosystem of weird, wonderful, and downright creepy biological processes. What's the most disturbing thing you learned today? Are you going to be thinking about those face mites tonight? And here's a challenge for you. Try to go to sleep tonight without thinking about your brain shrinking and flooding itself with cleaning fluids. Let me know in the comments which one of these creepy body facts is going to haunt your dreams. I read every single comment, and I love hearing your reactions. If you enjoyed this journey into biological horror, smash that subscribe button because your body is doing way more weird stuff than we could fit into one video. And I've got plenty more disturbing facts where these came from. That's all for today. Want more biological horror? Subscribe to see them.